Have you ever noticed that he writes to you exactly when you finally start letting go? It always happens at the moment when you regain your inner balance. When the pain in your chest slowly subsides, and you begin to remember what your life feels like without him. Suddenly, his name appears on your phone. For a moment, your breath catches. It feels almost cosmic, as if he could sense that you are inwardly detaching from him. But this is neither magic nor coincidence. It is psychology. It is the invisible rhythm of human behavior, a quiet energetic tension that arises when two people, who were once connected, are no longer in harmony. Today I want to show you a truth that almost every woman overlooks when a man pulls away. Truth that explains why it always happens when you begin to let go. Here it is. Men don't fall in love when they are with you. They fall in love when they are not with you. When you constantly text, ask, explain, or try to fix something, you don't destroy the connection. You suffocate it. You take away the space his mind needs to realize what he is losing. You try to hold on to something that only grows stronger when you let it breathe. Distance doesn't destroy attraction. It feeds it. Desire doesn't grow through constant closeness, but through mystery, space, and absence. Men are biologically and psychologically programmed to seek, to hunt, to conquer. Their nature finds meaning in pursuit. Male energy feels most alive when it is moving towards something it values. So if you are always available, answer immediately, and constantly prove your importance, you are taking away exactly that chase. You remove the emotional tension that ignites the fire of desire. I know it's hard. Silence feels heavy. Distance feels like rejection. But the woman who understands the power of her absence becomes unforgettable. It's not about games or manipulation, but about a deeper understanding of how attraction really works. Connection doesn't grow through control, but through opposites. It is the tension between closeness and distance, between giving and holding back, that keeps love alive. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." When you stop overexerting yourself and begin to stay in your center, you create space for this transformation. You stop trying to shape his feelings and begin shaping your own. Because when you rest in yourself, you don't need anyone to give you peace. So what really happens when a man pulls away? At first, everything is wonderful. You text, laugh, share stories. You feel seen, understood, chosen. And suddenly something changes. His messages become rarer. His calls shorter. His excitement weaker. You feel it before you see it. That subtle retreat that gives you a sinking feeling in your stomach. You ask yourself what you did wrong. Was I too much? Did I say something? Is he losing interest? Your mind feverishly searches for answers that don't come. But the truth is, when a man pulls away, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. Often it's quite the opposite. Male energy is cyclical. It moves in waves, forward and back, closeness and retreat. Like the tides, it must withdraw in order to return. When a man feels intense emotional closeness, he sometimes instinctively steps back. Not because he rejects you, but because he needs space to reflect, process, and breathe. He is not rejecting you. He is regulating himself. Think of a rubber band. When stretched, it automatically snaps back, only to spring forward again with more force. This is the natural rhythm of male desire. The problem is that many women misinterpret this retreat. They feel the change and panic. They seek reassurance, grab their phone, try to fix the problem. And that is what creates pressure. And pressure, even emotional, is the fastest way to push a man further away. What he needs in that moment is not more of your energy, but its absence. He must feel what life is, like when your warmth no longer fills his world. Must experience that quiet emptiness where once your presence was. Only then does he realize what he truly values. When a woman allows that space without reacting out of fear, she becomes strong, not cold, not distant, but calm and grounded. She stands in her serenity and lets the distance do what it is meant to do: create contrast. Only then he remembers the feeling of being with her. Not because she reminded him, but because she allowed him to miss it. In her silence, he hears his own thoughts, his longing, his desire. And if the connection is real, he will return to her. Not because she chased him, but because she didn't. That is the paradox of attraction. The more you hold on, the faster it slips away. At the moment you let go, it begins to return. Most women believe they must do more to keep his attention. But the truth is, the woman who stays in her center, who is gentle yet confident, who doesn't beg for attention and doesn't force clarity, stays in his mind long after all others have faded. It's not about punishing him, but about protecting your peace. If he truly belongs to you, he will return with clarity, not confusion. And if not, it's not a loss, but a revelation. You haven't lost him. You've recognized him. When a man pulls away, he becomes a mirror. He shows you where you still seek validation outside yourself, where you confuse silence with unworthiness, where you fear being alone. When you stop chasing and instead sink deeper into your own self-worth, everything changes. You stop waiting for him to choose you and begin to choose yourself. You stop reacting and begin to shine. Then the energy changes. You become the woman who doesn't chase connection, for she creates it. And the right man will do everything not to lose her. So when he pulls away, breathe. Don't run after him. Don't seek closures he hasn't earned. Stay in your power and let silence speak. Silence is not weakness. It is the strongest sound he will ever hear. When he feels that your peace does not depend on his presence, he will feel the absence of your energy like a shift in the air. Then he will realize what is missing. Not because you said it, but because he felt it. There is something magnetic about a woman who remains calm when the energy changes, who doesn't get nervous when he needs time to respond, who doesn't overanalyze a message, and stays secure in every pause. She remains serene, grounded, and confident. This quiet, unshakable strength is irresistible because it says without words, "I was complete long before you came." That is the unbothered mindset. Not coldness, not indifference, but the knowing that your emotional world belongs to you. Love does not mean losing yourself in the rhythm of another, but staying rooted in your own, and allowing the other to meet you there. When you live this truth, your aura changes, and this change speaks louder than any words. There is something deeply powerful in the moment when a woman stops chasing, not out of pride or ego, but out of awareness. When she stops grasping, she begins to receive. That is the silent shift that changes everything. When your energy turns inward and you realize that you don't have to convince anyone to stay, then everything that is meant for you feels light and natural, never forced. Here lies the true power of feminine energy, not in striving, but in stillness, not in control, but in trust. The woman who embodies this radiates something rare: calmness, depth, and a magnetic presence that cannot be learned, but only felt. Men are drawn to peace, not to the silence of withdrawal, but to the inner peace of a woman who knows herself. Calm in uncertainty, confident in solitude, and rooted in her worth. That's why she doesn't lose him when she lets go. She gives him the space to find his own path. True attraction is not created by chasing, but by polarity. Masculine and feminine energy need space to create movement. Without this space, everything becomes rigid. When you understand this, you stop fearing his distance and see it for what it truly is: the natural breath of connection, the rhythm that keeps love alive. You stop panicking when he withdraws. You no longer question your worth when he becomes quiet. You no longer need to explain chase, or convince. Because you finally understand that real love is not found in the noise, but in the silence between two hearts that know how to listen. That silence doesn't mean absence. It means trust. A man falls in love not with the woman who constantly reaches out, but with the woman whose energy he can feel even when she says nothing. With the woman who knows how to stay grounded when everything else feels uncertain. With the woman who doesn't compete for his attention because her presence already commands it. This woman knows if he walks away, he was never meant to stay. If he returns, it's because he finally recognized her value. And if he doesn't, she still wins because her peace was never dependent on his presence. She understands that true connection is never forced. It flows naturally between two souls that meet at the same frequency. It doesn't require chasing, convincing, or proving. That's why she lets go with grace. Not because she stopped caring, but because she learned that real love never demands you to lose yourself to keep it. She is no longer afraid of being alone because she has discovered the beauty in her own company. She no longer confuses silence with rejection, but with the space where something new can bloom, within her or beyond her. She becomes the calm in the storm, the peace he remembers long after chaos fades. She becomes the lesson he never forgets, because she no longer waits to be chosen. She already chose herself. And that, right there, is the moment everything changes. Because when a woman stops chasing, she becomes the prize, and she knows it.